The massive white Dogo Argentino stood frozen at the edge of the woods, his powerful jaws trembling. In his mouth, carried with impossible gentleness, was something that should have been prey. Something his ancestors had been bred for centuries to kill without hesitation. Max, 100 pounds of pure hunting machine, was crying. Not the warning growl of a predator, not the bark of a guard dog, but a deep, guttural whimper that came from somewhere his owner, Liam, had never seen before. A sound of genuine heartbreak. 3 weeks earlier, this same dog had discovered a baby bunny hiding in the fence line. What happened next defied everything we know about predator and prey. What happened next made a grown man question the very nature of instinct itself. The hunt had failed. But something far more powerful had awakened. But to understand how a killer became a father, how a predator chose love over hunger, we need to go back to the beginning. Back to when Max was everything the world expected him to be. Before we continue this incredible story, drop your country in the comments below. We want to know where our Wind Echo Untold family is watching from around the world. And if you love stories that prove nature is far stranger and more beautiful than we imagine, hit that subscribe button. You won't regret it. Trust me, this story will change how you see the animals around you. Now let's meet the hunter who forgot how to hunt. Max wasn't just any dog. He was a living weapon wrapped in white fur. Dogo Argentinos weren't bred for companionship. They weren't meant to fetch tennis balls or sleep on couches. They were engineered in 1920s Argentina for one brutal purpose: to hunt animals that could kill you. Wild boar, mountain lions, pumas that weighed twice what they did. Their jaws could crush bone. Their pain tolerance was legendary. When a dogo locked onto prey, nothing short of death, theirs or the target's, would make them let go. Max embodied every terrifying inch of that legacy. At 3 years old, he was a sculpture of muscle and power. His coat gleamed pure white under the sun, making him look almost angelic until you saw his eyes during a hunt. Then you saw what he truly was. Liam had raised Max from a puppy. 23 years old, Liam worked from home as a software developer, which meant Max had constant companionship. They were inseparable. Morning runs through the trails, evenings in the yard. The bond was unbreakable, but Liam lived with a constant anxiety that he rarely spoke about. Their property backed up against woods and open fields in rural Virginia. Rabbits were everywhere. Squirrels taunted from the trees. Once a groundhog had made the fatal mistake of wandering into the yard. Max had moved like lightning. The whole thing was over in seconds. Liam had to bury the groundhog himself. Max had sat nearby, tail wagging, proud of his work. "He's just doing what he's built to do," Liam's girlfriend Sarah would say. But Liam worried. What if a neighbor's cat got loose? What if a kid reached through the fence at the wrong moment? Max was good. Max was loyal. But Max was also a predator. Every single day, Liam watched his best friend patrol the fence line, nose to the ground, searching, hunting, always hunting. It was who he was. It was all he'd ever been, until the day instinct broke. May arrived with an explosion of life. The woods behind their house came alive with birdsong and rustling. Spring meant babies everywhere, vulnerable, clumsy, and wandering into places they shouldn't. Liam knew this was the dangerous season. He'd started keeping Max on a shorter leash during evening walks, but on a warm Saturday afternoon, Liam made a mistake. He was deep in a work deadline, headphones on, focused on his computer screen. He'd let Max out into the fenced yard without his usual vigilant supervision. 30 minutes passed. Then Liam heard it, not a bark, not a growl, something between a whine and a rumble, a sound he'd never heard Max make before. Liam ripped off his headphones and sprinted to the back door. His heart hammered. Had Max gotten hurt? Was there an intruder? What he saw through the window made him freeze. Max was in full hunt mode. Body low, ears pinned, every muscle coiled like a spring ready to explode. He was stalking something in the tall grass near the back fence. Moving with the practiced silence of a born killer, Liam burst through the door, already yelling Max's name, already expecting to see blood and fur and the aftermath of violence. But Max didn't move. He'd stopped 3 feet from his target, head tilted, utterly still. Liam ran closer, expecting the worst, ready to pull his dog away from whatever small creature he'd cornered. Then he saw it, a baby cottontail rabbit, no bigger than Liam's fist, fur still downy soft, eyes wide with terror but too young to run, or too injured, or too exhausted from whatever had separated it from its mother. The bunny was going to die. There was no question. It was 3 feet from the jaws of a dog, built to kill things 10 times its size. Max lowered his massive head. The bunny trembled but didn't move. Couldn't move. And then Max did something that made Liam's blood run cold with shock. He opened his jaws, those bone-crushing, prey-catching jaws, and gently, impossibly gently, closed them around the tiny rabbit. Not to kill, not to carry away and finish off in private, to hold. Max turned toward Liam, the bunny cradled in his mouth like a mother cat carries her kittens, and walked slowly forward. Those powerful jaws that had killed a groundhog in seconds were now trembling with the effort of staying soft. Max stopped at Liam's feet and lowered his head. He opened his mouth. The bunny tumbled onto the grass, unharmed, shaking but alive, breathing. Max looked up at Liam with eyes that seemed to ask a question. What do we do now? Liam stood in his yard, staring at the impossible. His killer dog, a living baby bunny. No blood, no violence. Just Max sitting there, protective, as the tiny creature trembled in the grass between them. Sarah came running out, drawn by Liam's shouts. When she saw the scene, her hand flew to her mouth. Oh my God, Liam, is that a baby rabbit? Max found it. And he didn't kill it. Sarah's voice was barely a whisper. Max whined softly and nudged the bunny with his nose. Not roughly, carefully, the way you'd touch something precious. Liam's first instinct kicked in. Save the baby. He carefully scooped up the bunny, barely 3 inches long, weighing almost nothing, and brought it inside. They set up a cardboard box with soft towels. Sarah found an eyedropper and prepared a mixture of kitten formula she'd looked up online. The bunny, which they'd started calling Peanut, was clearly in bad shape. Dehydrated, possibly injured, definitely traumatized. When Liam tried to feed it with the dropper, the tiny creature just shook, eyes glazed, refusing to eat. It's going into shock, Sarah said quietly. Liam, I don't think it's going to make it. They tried everything. A heating pad set to low, gentle stroking, soft voices. Nothing worked. Peanut was shutting down, the way wild animals do when they've given up. But something else wasn't giving up. Max paced outside the spare bedroom where they'd set up the box. He scratched at the door. He whined. When Liam opened the door to check on him, Max pushed past and went straight to the box, sniffing frantically. Max, no! Liam grabbed his collar, terrified the hunting instinct would suddenly kick back in. Get back! But Max wasn't hunting. He was searching, looking for the bunny with an intensity that seemed almost frantic. When Liam pulled him away, Max barked just once, sharp and insistent. He wouldn't leave. He planted himself by the box and refused to move. Sarah had an idea that sounded insane. What if we let him closer? Are you crazy? He's a hunting dog. This is a rabbit. Every instinct he has says that bunny is food. But Liam, look at him. Max wasn't drooling, wasn't excited. His ears weren't pinned back in hunting mode. He looked worried, agitated in a way that had nothing to do with prey drive and everything to do with concern. It makes no sense, Liam muttered. But he was running out of options. Peanut was dying. They both knew it. Against every logical thought in his head, Liam carefully picked up the box and lowered it to the floor. Max immediately pushed his massive head inside, nose working overtime. The bunny, which had been lying limp and unresponsive, suddenly stirred. Peanut lifted its tiny head, turned toward the enormous dog, and incredibly, impossibly, the shaking stopped. No way, Sarah breathed. Liam slowly reached in and placed Peanut on the floor. Max lowered himself down into a lying position, making himself smaller, less threatening. The baby rabbit, operating on some instinct Liam couldn't begin to understand, crawled toward Max, not away, toward. Peanut nestled against Max's front leg, in the crook where the massive paw met the muscled forearm. And for the first time since they'd brought it inside, the bunny closed its eyes, and rested. Max looked up at Liam with an expression that was unmistakable. He needs me. They weren't going to separate them. That much became clear over the next several hours. Every time they tried to move Peanut back to the box, the bunny would panic, and Max would become agitated. Together, they were calm. Apart, everything fell apart, so Liam made a decision that went against everything he knew about predator and prey, everything he'd been taught about dogos and their hunting instincts. He let Max keep the rabbit. What followed was 3 weeks that rewrote everything. Liam thought he knew about his dog. Max became Peanut's entire world. More than that, he became the rabbit's mother. The dogo, who had killed a groundhog without hesitation, now spent hours lying motionless on the living room floor while a baby rabbit slept tucked against his neck. Max, whose jaws could crush a puma's skull, now used that same mouth to gently groom Peanut, his tongue carefully cleaning the bunny's fur the way a mother rabbit would. Feeding time became a ritual. Sarah would prepare the formula, but Peanut would only eat if Max was there. The bunny would nestle against Max's chest, and only then would it accept the dropper, as if Max's presence was the only thing that made the terrifying human world feel safe. As Peanut grew stronger and braver, the dynamic became even more fascinating. The bunny started exploring the house, but never went far. Every few minutes, Peanut would hop back to wherever Max was lying and touch its nose to the dog's paw, as if checking in. Max became fiercely protective. When Liam's parents came to visit and his father reached down to pet the bunny, Max's lips pulled back in a warning. Not aggressive, just clear, don't touch him. Sarah caught it all on video. Max lying in the backyard, eyes closed in the sun, while Peanut hopped in circles around him. Max carefully stepping over the tiny rabbit when he needed to move. Max's tail doing a slow, gentle wag whenever Peanut returned from an exploration. The hunter had been replaced by something else entirely. A father, a protector, a guardian who happened to have 4 legs and weigh 100 pounds. I don't understand it, Liam told Sarah one night. They were watching Max sleep on his bed, the now significantly bigger Peanut nestled in the curve of the dog's body. He's a dogo. He's supposed to kill rabbits. It's literally in his DNA. Maybe, Sarah said softly. There's more in his DNA than we thought. By week 3, Peanut had transformed. The helpless baby had become a healthy, active juvenile rabbit, big enough to hop with real speed, confident enough to explore the entire house, strong enough to survive in the wild, and that was the problem. Liam had done his research. Wild rabbits couldn't be domesticated, not really. They needed to be released, or they'd never learn to be rabbits. Peanut needed to go back to the woods. Liam knew it. Sarah knew it. But how do you explain that to a dog who just learned to love something he was supposed to kill? The decision was agonizing, but it had to be made. Saturday morning, they'd take Peanut to a safe area deep in the woods, far from the road, near a warren where they'd spotted other rabbits. Give him a fighting chance. Liam woke up that morning with a knot in his stomach. Max seemed to sense something was wrong. He followed Liam everywhere, whining softly, tail down. Sarah prepared a small cardboard carrier. They'd need to transport Peanut gently but securely. When she picked up the rabbit to place him inside, Max barked, sharp and urgent. He'd never barked at Sarah before. "It's okay, buddy," Liam said, kneeling beside his dog. We're taking him somewhere safe. He needs to be with other rabbits." Max stared at him with those intense eyes. And Liam could swear the dog understood. Could swear Max knew exactly what was about to happen. They drove to the release point in silence. Liam carried the carrier. Sarah walked beside him. And Max insisted on coming. He wouldn't stay in the car. Wouldn't stay home. He pulled on the leash with a determination that left no room for argument. So they brought him. The spot was perfect. A clearing near a thicket. They'd seen rabbits here before. Plenty of cover. Fresh clover. A stream nearby. Peanut would be okay. Peanut would survive. Liam kept telling himself that as he knelt down and opened the carrier, Peanut hopped out slowly, nose twitching, taking in the new environment. The bunny moved a few feet away, then stopped, turned around, and looked directly at Max. The dogo was sitting rigid, every muscle locked. He was shaking. Not from cold, not from excitement, from the effort of holding himself back, of not running forward, of not scooping up his baby and carrying him back home where he belonged. Peanut took another hop. Stopped again. Those big eyes, so much clearer and brighter than they'd been 3 weeks ago, looked back one more time. Max made a sound that broke Liam's heart, a low, keening whine that came from deep in his chest, a sound of pure grief. The dog surged forward, and Liam had to grab his collar with both hands. Max, no. Let him go. You have to let him go. Peanut seemed to understand. The bunny turned away and hopped into the underbrush. Within seconds, the brown and white fur had vanished into the forest floor, camouflaged perfectly, designed by millions of years of evolution to survive. Max lunged again, but Liam held firm. The dog's whine turned into something close to a howl, a sound of loss so profound it made Sarah start crying. "He's gone," Liam said, his own voice breaking. "He's gone, buddy. You saved him. You did so good. But he's gone now." Max went limp in Liam's arms. The fight drained out of him all at once. When Liam finally released the collar, Max didn't run after Peanut. He just stood there, staring at the woods where the bunny had disappeared. The walk back to the car was the longest of Liam's life. Max stopped eating. For 3 days, the dog who'd always attacked his food bowl with enthusiasm now just stared at it. Liam tried everything: treats, different food, hand feeding. Nothing worked. Max had also stopped playing, stopped greeting Liam at the door, stopped his patrol of the fence line. He spent hours lying in the backyard, staring at the woods, waiting for something that wasn't coming back. At night, Max would go to the spot where Peanut used to sleep, the corner of Liam's bedroom near the heater vent, and just lie there. Sometimes Liam would wake up at 2 a.m. to the sound of Max sniffing that corner, searching for a scent that was already fading. "He's depressed," the vet confirmed on day 4. When Liam brought Max in, terrified something was physically wrong. Dogs can grieve just like we do. He formed a genuine bond with that rabbit. This is real loss for him. Sarah couldn't stop crying when she heard that. "We broke his heart. Liam, we broke his heart. We had to let Peanut go," Liam said, but he wasn't sure he believed it anymore. "He's a wild animal. He needed to be free, I know." But Max didn't know that. Max just knows his baby is gone. The whole thing seemed impossible. A Dogo Argentino, a dog bred for violence, engineered for hunting, was heartbroken over losing a rabbit. The very creature he was supposed to kill had become the thing he loved most. Slowly, painfully, Max began to recover. By the second week, he was eating again, though not with the same enthusiasm. He started playing again, though the games were gentler, more subdued. He'd never be quite the same dog he was before Peanut, but something else emerged. Something that fascinated Liam and Sarah both. Max became gentle with everything small. A squirrel ventured into the yard one morning. The old Max would have exploded into chase mode. This Max watched it carefully, alert but calm. When the squirrel got too close, Max barked once, warning, not hunting, and the squirrel fled. Max didn't chase. A neighbor's cat got loose and ended up in their yard. Max found it hiding under the deck. Instead of attacking, Max lay down 10 feet away and just watched it, the same way he'd watched over Peanut. Eventually, the cat felt safe enough to leave on its own. "It's like he learned something," Sarah said one evening. They were watching Max in the yard, where he'd discovered a family of rabbits near the fence line. The old Max would have been a killing machine. This Max sat and observed them, head tilted with curiosity, but made no move to hunt. "He learned that small things can be loved, not just killed," Liam replied. "Peanut taught him that." 3 months after they released Peanut, Liam and Sarah were hiking the same trail near the release point. Max was with them off-leash and happy, more like his old self, but with that new gentleness that had become part of who he was. They'd reached the clearing, the spot where they'd said goodbye, when Max suddenly stopped. His ears perked up. His whole body went rigid with attention. Then he bolted. "Max!" Liam sprinted after him, terrified, flashbacks of that first day flooding back. But Max wasn't hunting. He was running toward something. Near the thicket, half hidden in the tall grass, was a rabbit. Bigger now, adult-sized. brown and white fur gleaming in the afternoon sun. The rabbit saw Max coming and should have run. Instead, it stood up on its hind legs. Max skidded to a stop 3 feet away. The rabbit lowered back down. And then, Liam would swear to this until his dying day, the rabbit hopped 2 steps forward and touched its nose to Max's paw. Just for a second. Then it turned and disappeared into the underbrush. Max whined softly, but his tail was wagging. They'd never know for sure if it was Peanut. While rabbits look similar, it could have been any cottontail in the area. But Max had recognized something, had connected with something in a way that went beyond logic or reason. Liam knelt beside his dog and wrapped his arms around that massive white body. "You gave him a chance," Liam whispered. "You could have killed him. You were supposed to kill him. But you gave him love instead. And he survived because of you." Max leaned into the embrace. And for the first time since they'd released Peanut, he seemed truly at peace. The story of Max and Peanut became legend in their family. It was told at gatherings, shared with skeptical dog trainers, posted online where it went viral and made strangers cry. Because it proved something people desperately want to believe, that love can override instinct, that compassion can defeat programming, that even a creature designed for violence can choose tenderness instead. Max's hunting instinct didn't just fail that day in May, it evolved. It transformed into something more powerful than any predator drive could ever be. The capacity to protect, the capacity to nurture, the capacity to love. And that failure? That was the greatest success of his life. Now it's your turn. If this story moved you, if Max's journey from hunter to father made you see animals differently, do 3 things for us. First, subscribe to Wind Echo Untold. We find stories like this all over the world. Stories that prove nature is stranger, more beautiful, and more emotional than we ever imagined. Don't miss the next one. Second, tell us in the comments, what's the most surprising thing an animal has ever taught you? Share your stories. We read every single one. Third, share this video. There's someone in your life who needs to see what Max did. Someone who needs to be reminded that gentleness is strength. That love is never a failure. Send it to them. Max didn't fail as a hunter. He succeeded as something far greater. And his legacy isn't measured in prey caught. It's measured in lives saved, in lessons learned, in hearts changed. The research of what animals are truly capable of continues. And Max just added one more incredible chapter to that book. Subscribe, comment, share, and keep watching the world around you. Because you never know when you'll witness something that changes everything you thought you knew. This is Wind Echo Untold, where the most unbelievable stories are always true.